So Dalton, another good night, 16 points, but bigger 3 wins in a row. Close out the homestand with 3 wins and head on the road now. So what's the feeling like in the locker room as you head out of here?
Oh, it's great. We're all happy. I mean, we all kind of figured that this would come because all of our games been close. We just haven't been able to pull it out, and now we're finally pulling them out.
What about the defensive effort? That's something the team has struggled with for a long time, but how rewarding is it to see that really come together?
I mean, it's big time. I mean, we track, it's called kills. Means that we stopped the opponent 3 times in a row. We did that twice in the first half, and I don't know about any in the second, but we're really focusing and locking in on defense more than offense throughout this week.
That's one thing that coach has really harped on, and it's been here, is like just keeping the positivity, keeping you guys, like you just mentioned, close games, haven't been able to finish them out. But to hold 2 opponents, 54 points on this homestand, a season low, you guys feel you're playing your best basketball right now?
Oh, yeah. I think we for sure found, like, what this team is about. Like, on the defensive end, offensive end, we're both playing great on both sides. And the bench has been great. The locker room's been great. We have great crowds coming in, and it's just great.
I know y'all didn't practice on Sunday when you got back, and I know coaches talked about that being a really big thing. But earlier in the season, specifically conference, y'all struggled with even scoring and really getting that ball movement. Is there anything aside from getting that rest that you think changed?
I think we're just getting hot at the right time. I mean, all of us are shooting at a high clip right now, and it's just us just playing with confidence, coaches getting us in the right spots, and then everyone just believing in themselves and believing in others.
One of the key stats I thought tonight was your guys' ability to keep them off the offensive glass. I think they had 11 of them, but we're really able to turn those into any extra opportunities, any points. Rebounding against a team like that with a 7'1", and I know Theo's 7'2", but you got 11 with 9. It's a team effort. Talk a little bit about the rebounding advantage here tonight.
That was one of our big keys on controlling the game, is just grabbing as many off or defensive rebounds as we can and keep them off the glass. Coach Smiley put they think they're ranked 28th in the nation in rebounding, and he said that's going to be a big key for us to win.
Well, what's it like to see some of the younger players get time because y'all have done such a good job?
Oh, yeah, it's cool. I mean, Dawson Moore and Jalen Page made 2 threes in the Weber game. That was really cool to see. And JP got another one up, and we're just all, like, happy for them to get their playing time. They deserve it.
How important is it for them to get some of this in-game time, knowing that they're going to have to step up into big roles in the future?
It's going to be big time. Just get that experience, get underneath their belt, get their first, like, couple actions and stuff, couple minutes. So it's big time.
The ability for Riley to kind of bounce back from his injury, miss some time, he's back in, and I mean, he was kind of a catalyst to jumpstart in the second half. You guys led by 10 at the break, but all of a sudden, I went to 19 real quick when those 3 straight threes went in. Just to see him playing at a high level as well.
Oh, yeah, it's great. I mean, having him back, shooting, spacing out the floor for us to get some more driving lanes, it's big time.
Yeah, and we've seen it in flashes. I think, you go back, if you went back and watched that Colorado State game, we were awesome. Now that feels like it was 4 years ago, just how long college basketball is. These seasons are, it's mid-February. That was in November, I think, or maybe early December. I can't, remember. But we've shown flashes. But for whatever reason, it just hasn't clicked. One guy plays well, but another guy that needs to play well doesn't play well. Or the young guys are really good one night, but the next night they're not quite ready to get, and it's not out of effort. It's just they're young and they're inexperienced. And for whatever reason, though, I do think these all 3 of these games this week, we really kind of clicked, fired on all cylinders, and the entire team just played really, really well. So I'm just super, super proud of the guys right now.
So you feel a little bit of validation after saying in November that you're not going to be as good as in November as it would be at this time of the year. It looked like maybe you weren't going to get there, but you feel validated, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's just, again, we're just trying to climb right now. And, when you dig yourself a hole like we've dug ourselves just in the sense of the league standings, you got to dig out of it. And as our guys know, we are not going to win the regular season championship. That is a mathematical impossibility, and that's been that way for a while. But the goal is, one, get the best seeding you can get, but even two, even more so, play your best basketball, which we still have 2 weeks until the tournament, and we got to keep playing better. But I do think if you're trying to find a time to really start playing well and peaking and things like that, I mean, this team looks really good right now. I think this team is getting closer to being equipped to try to make a big run in Boise. So, yeah, it's been a very interesting year to this point. But I think the validation of not just as we told them, there's a great song by Ski Low. Okay. I wish I was a baller or something like that, right? So after we played Weber State, we beat them really bad. I said, close your eyes. We watched a lot of film, and I put that song on YouTube. And of course, these guys are so young; they don't even know who sings it. But I'm like, who that is? Like, no. I go, you know the song, right? Well, yeah. So, well, you don't know who it is because he's a one-hit wonder, and we're not going to be a one-hit wonder. Weber State, that's not the mountaintop. It's just another game in the journey. And so even going to Portland State, I was so proud of how they played at Portland State. And tonight, I thought the big thing is this is the 5th game in 9 days. And it is emotionally exhausting for these kids. And I thought they came out and they played really well to finish the week off.
Coach, we all know you guys can score bunches, but I thought 2 of the 3 games, season low, 54 points.
Man.
I mean, especially with the way that Portland State started. They started 4 of 4, end up 16 of 63, if I'm mathing that correctly. Talk a little bit about the defensive effort, especially when they got off to such a hot start.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, it was like 13-12, like 2.5 minutes in the game. I was like, on the one hand, that's the pace we'd want to play because they don't play fast, but they're also scoring like crazy. I'm like, okay, what is going on? But from that point on, they scored like, I think Coach Clofold said they scored 10 points in like 14 minutes. 10 points in 14 minutes. And that's like, man. And that's a really good team. And so for us to be able to guard that well, and then I thought in the second half, we even ramped it up more. We held them to 29% in the second half. So to walk into the, to the locker room afterwards and to say, okay, they were 20 for 66 and they shot 30% from the field, that's a major area of growth for our team.
Another one was the glass. I mean,
yeah, and they're one of the best rebounding teams in
rebounding that team with their size. I thought you guys were tremendous tonight.
Tremendous. And I think all 3 of these wins, we've out-rebounded all 3 of these teams substantially. And so you're starting to see some things, and it's like we told the guys going into this game, like, guys, you're starting to taste what winning, what it tastes like. You're starting to feel a little bit. And you can't just assume, my last thing is like, winning is hard. It requires more. Don't think we're just winning, it's easy. This is hard. So winning is hard. It's going to require even more tonight against these guys. And the kids really stepped up.
Well, I asked Dalton, but earlier in the season, specifically early in conference play, y'all really struggled with getting some of this more even scoring. Aside from that rest earlier in the week, is there anything specific that you think changed?
I think no. I think we're just kind of finding a better flow. I think even going into the Weber State game, we're starting to play a little bit deeper bench, kind of going more to a little bit more of a 9-man rotation. And I think you can see that a little bit. And one of the things with those guys is, going into this week, Dalton, Dalen, and Matt were 1, 2, and 3 in the league in minutes. And they're still kind of right there, but they've started to dip down a little bit, which I think is a good thing. Starting to reduce them down a little bit, give a little bit more faith and confidence into those young guys. They come in, they got all the energy in the world. And so I think it really helps our guys. But the balanced scoring, it's really a matter, too, of guys playing better. Riley, 2 of these 3 games really shot it well. And then in the game he didn't shoot well, Theo had a career night. And so I think those are big things. Brock's had some great games. So there's a lot of positive progress for sure.
I also asked Dalton about this, but with Riley, missed some games with that injury, to get him back, I mean, he was one that really separated here from 10 to 19
sure.
with his threes. When he's able to space it out like that and bring what he brings, and you mentioned the interior, 4 guys in double figures, how dangerous can you guys be, you feel, into Boise?
Yeah, having a good Riley along with our predominant scorers, Dalton, Dalen, and Matt, And then two, like our bigs are finishing like at a really high level, like the advanced stats on both Theo and Brock, their ability to finish, like their offensive ratings, they're really high. And so now you have like, you don't have a lot of weaknesses. And so, yeah, Riley, he's been huge. And even the night like on Portland State when he didn't make shots, they were still good shots, and everyone knows he can shoot. So even if he's not making shots, his presence on the floor stretches the defense out, which gives those other guys more ability to drive. So it all kind of fits together.
Well, what do you think we're going to see in the future from some of your young guys who are getting minutes now with these big wins?
I think they're just going to keep getting better and better. They've all had really bright moments throughout the course of the season. They're all going to keep getting better. It's like we told the guys too, even when we were losing, like, it's not about next year, for any of you guys. Well, I'll get a better chance next year, or I'm going to be a pro next year, or whatever it is. It's about right now. And so I think our guys have all embraced that. But when you look at those young guys for the future, I think they're going to be really good. And I think they kind of fit well together, and they all like each other. And that's probably the most important thing.
Also, last year, I think you said you played just a 6-man rotation in the tournament. How comfortable are you right now, however many weeks out, playing a larger rotation going into it?
Yeah, I think you don't mess with happy, you don't mess with success. We've gone to this and we're starting to win. So what happens is, and I think we're playing hard, we're playing pretty physical. Usually you're going to get one or two guys that get in foul trouble, especially our bigs. But tonight there was only, I think we had 2 fouls at halftime, so that was not the case tonight. But no, we're going to keep. The key is to get those kids in early, and so that the rotation starts itself, and then we can, manipulate it and decide how we want to go with it. But you got to get them in early, because if you don't put them in the first half or the first 13 to 15 minutes, it's really hard to say, hey, come on in, and you've been sitting for an hour. It's hard, so we just got to keep doing that.
Last thing for me, Dalton, obviously we know he can score, but tonight, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, really complete game for him. Just being able to kind of go in there and battle with McRae and get some of those boards that probably steal a couple possessions from him. Yeah, but I think he had 7 of those boards in the first half, if I remember right. And I think that, he's playing hard, and it's you never want to be just like, well, that's the guy that scores, because that's cool. But like, he's more than that. He's been a top 10 rebounder in our league this year. And so to have those 9 rebounds, that's really important. And like I said, when they put 2 guys on him, they put 2 on the ball, now you got to make the right read, and that's where those 4 assists come. And he's really sharing the ball as well. So it was a tremendous game for him for sure.